Not
No, it's yacht. It's 19.
latkes.
We do have latkes on Hanukkah. That's the 25th. And wait, we have that book too. Did I say
Rabbi,
it wrong?
I have a question. Well, two really.
Okay.
Okay, the first one is, do you care if I record this and put it up on YouTube for a Noahide class?
We're recording it, but if you want to record it separately, you can.
Okay, and
I think
the second one would be more of a request. Is there any way that you can talk in this class about the Noahide laws and ideas around not abusing animals, not harming the animals, and things like that?
it's not for tonight's class unless we're dropping the topic.
Oh, okay. So you already have a topic. Okay.
Yeah, this was going to be the completion of last week,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
Last week was the theoretical stay away from Avodah Zarah. This week is how in the world do you do that when you walk into any, forget about going to somebody's house. You walk into any store, right? You go into I don't know, a grocery store, and the music playing, and you've got displays of that stuff. I mean, you want to go into the local Walmart and get vegetables, and you're surrounded by the stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
some of it is like Bulgarian, like Jingle Bell Rock really has nothing to do
I mean, I beyond me what the tree has to do with that guy, but
with
I,
nothing.
Well,
you
no,
know,
it's not, has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with like the pagan worship that was
some
taking
pagan
place.
worship was taken
The
from him.
Roman, so the Romans engulfed the world's, not only their land, but to make peace, they took in all of their,
The gods, turn
Yeah,
them into
they're-
saints, and turn them
yeah.
into saints. Yeah.
yeah, so that people would be peaceful. And that's ultimately what Christianity ended up being, because the first century Christianity was not the fourth century Christianity under Constantine.
I know that the custom is you never, ST or SAAT. You never say the name of a town that's named that with the guy's name, because it's almost a given that that guy did things that would in no way be considered righteous. So, for example, Silicon Valley is 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 written out as simply Yosef Atzadik is the name of the town instead of saying SOZ. Uh-huh. All right, guys. It seems like nobody wants you until you're teaching, and then everybody wants to see you. Um, the question is what you're what you're required, what you can't absolutely can't do, and then what you should do. Yeah, let me restart the sentence since you just started recording. The question becomes anywhere you go outside of your own home, practically, if you go into a store, if you go into a supermarket, if you go into a Walmart, if you go into, I don't know, I don't know about Lowe's and Home Depot, although I would assume you got stuff there too. It's pretty much everywhere. So what are you required to do? How much, do you have to just say, I'm not leaving my house for the next 6 weeks? You can't, you'll never survive. You got to get groceries. So, what do you do? And then what do you do with work? I mean, family and friends is one thing, but then you got work and you got all the work stuff going on. And, what do you do with being invited to work parties, and how do you handle that? And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of that becomes how well you handle the politics of the situation. With family, very tough. Um, I mean, it's tough, even for Baal Tshuva, where you have family members who want to do things that aren't permitted, and they're like, well, aren't you going to go do XYZ with us? You've always done that. It's like, no, I'm not allowed to do that. So we've all got those wonderful issues. The question is how you handle it, and that's going to be a very, um, I guess, personal way of avoiding as much as you can. In terms of going shopping, you can't stop going shopping, but I mean, they play that music, and I can't tell you how many people have told me, as much as they don't want to remember it, they don't want to have anything to do with it. Listen, you've been listening to it since you're born. Every year, music plays, and you hear the words of it. So you got to work as much as you can against that. I would say you want to really avoid giving presents and accepting presents, even in terms of like the mailman and stuff. Give them like a seasonal gift a couple days before, a couple days after. Well, they're not going to deliver mail on the 25th anyway. But someone wants in. I would say, nobody's going to deliver mail on the 25th of December. No one's going to deliver mail on the 1st of January. So something like the 20th or the 21st, you can put out like a holiday. Not, I wouldn't say it's a holiday thing. I would say it's a seasonal thing. It's a winter present or something like that. And definitely not, make it like a holiday thing. And do it that way. That's kind of, I think, even Dr. Shulman recommended to do that too, because you're kind of stuck doing something, but you want to detach it as much as you can from the holiday they're celebrating. Any questions or ideas?
I just tell everybody I don't participate in none of it, so I'm straightforward and blunt about it.
Yeah, I know when I was working, large computer company had their holiday party every year. And there were 15, 16 observant men, and plus or minus, I don't know, it was the same number of women, but slightly less number of women who were observant. Head of the company was actually Jewish. And after he saw that we weren't going to go to the holiday party, even though he was willing to get kosher food there for the Jewish guys, he said to me, "You're probably the guy who's the most strict. You pick any kosher restaurant within half an hour of the company, and I will cover the dinner, and everybody's invited. You send out the invite list, and I'll cover it." And we did that for as long as I worked there. So but again, that's because you had the head of the company himself, was willing to sponsor it. But certainly not going. When I worked at other companies, I didn't go. It raised eyebrows. People were like, "What do you mean you're not going?" They give out presents. I'm like, I don't need the presents. I said, if the boss wants to give me something green as a present, he doesn't need to wait for then. No, it's really not necessary. But I guess it's very dependent on the place you're working also, and how big or small it is, and how the individual group is going to react. But yeah, you got to stand up and be yourself. That's in many ways one of the ways Hashem is testing us, is to see how we react in that situation. Are we going to stand up and say, no, we're not participating in this, or are we going to just bow and do our best in there?
Well, if event is non-religious, does it really matter? I mean,
Well, what's the event? I mean,
it's a holiday, it's an end of the year party. Is what
an end of the year party. You gotta judge it by what it is.
I've never been to it before, so I can't really say.
Yeah,
I'm calling it a year.
right.
And the theme is gonna be the roaring 20s. So we're supposed to wear something
Roaring
20s.
20s. Wait a minute. We're in the roaring 20s.
So, yeah, previous, yeah,
No, what year is it?
24.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're in the roaring 20s.
It would be appropriate in that.
Hard to believe that's a century ago.
1920? You mean when Avram Avinu was walking around? In 1920, yeah, he was walking around then. Nayach was still around. I mean, you want to dress like that's fine with me, but gonna have an interesting time finding the dress code for that.
So but it is this time of year, the reason people are doing these things is because of the time of year that it is.
Right. They're not making a holiday party in the middle of the summer.
So like with my situation, my team that I just joined is doing like this white elephant thing
Uh-huh.
where they're like change or exchanging gifts and whatever.
Right.
And my office has a freaking Christmas tree in it, so
Yep.
I'm working from home, which I'm totally cool with. But I'm just saying,
Well, anyway, so.
but I'm just saying, like, so I'm telling my team leader, like, look, I'm not coming to this thing because we're not because of what you because of it's associated with. Even though they're trying to water it down,
Uh-huh.
the bottom line is it's associated with this time of year. That's it.
Right,
And what is everybody going to be wishing each other for the next 3
Right.
weeks, right?
yeah.
I mean, how many phone calls have I had, from medical or from, organizational or from, whatever, things where the end or the beginning of the conversation is happy, whatever,
Yeah.
you know? So it's gonna hit you almost whatever you do. Yeah, if you can work from home, but a lot of us, some people can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's really well. Actually, next week I won't be working from home, but the point I'm getting at is they're doing all of this.
Right.
They're not trying to put the title along with what they're doing,
It's still there.
but it's still the same.
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to dilute what we already know they're doing. It's like Christmas Day without being Christmas Day.
The thing is, they're not making an effort to remove Jesus from the event.
Well, I think they are. Because that might be offensive to people.
I don't think they
Not
have.
It's religion at all.
So the interesting thing though is at the end of the day, even let's take Christianity out of the concept of bringing the tree into the home
Right.
and putting all the ornaments on it and all that. It's still a bizarre. So
Straight out of Jeremiah 10.
the Christianity was only brought into it in the 4th century as this idea that it was about the J guy.
Right.
Before that, the world still did a lot of the same thing.
It was really pure Vodazara. Yeah.
Yeah. And so regardless of whether it's the J guy or not, I mean, the prophet Jeremiah talks about
It's a winter solstice party,
it.
really.
Yeah. I guess it's like,
Yeah, it says Jeremiah chapter 10.
I think
It's a big, listen, however you cut the cake, the tree, I remember where the doctor and I used to live, we had a couple really tall evergreens around the yard, like at the outskirts of the yard, and they were really big, tall, beautiful trees. I can't believe how many of my neighbors were offering to go up in the tree and put lights on and everything else. I'm like, why are you killing my tree? Leave it alone. They're like, no, we're not going to kill it. We're going to just put a nice star on top and whatever. I said, number one, we don't put stars on trees unless they're in a movie or something. And then, I said, we don't do that stuff. That's not, And then somebody asked me to put up a Hanukkah bush. And that's what I said. But apparently there are some people who, you know, unfortunately, the culture of the country has invaded many people's thinking. So even people who don't overtly celebrate anything or believe in anything, you'll see the tree and the presents and everything else. You know, I mean, I remember as a kid, somebody in third or fourth grade was asked what they want as a present. And they said, I want a real fireplace so he has a place to come down.
Mhm.
And I was like, real fireplace to come down? Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, where does that come from? But you know,
I'm not really worried about it. I just like I'm
it's
part of the problem, you know what I'm saying?
it's this is the whole all of the seasonal things, right? The reindeers. I mean, I imagine on TV you have the all the toy man things and all the, you know, I would imagine every toy store and probably every department store is having all kinds of toy sales and stuff, right? I mean, what are they doing it for? It's a, well, yeah, it's a commercial thing. But interestingly enough, you're not allowed to do a sale to an Avodah on or right around their holidays. Because A, you may be helping them to celebrate their holiday. And B, they may look at, you know, wow, I got this great bargain because the guy's helping me celebrate my holiday. So, you know, there's an ISR, a restriction on doing business right around their holiday times with anything they could be using for their holiday. So there it goes with your ducks.
The Dutch.
Yeah. What are they going to use them for? Right, for their dinner. You know, I mean, I would, you know, we were talking about it, like the first day lighting is going to be around 5 o'clock, I think 5:15. The sundown is at 5. It's somewhere around 5. So we figured we'll call it for 5:15 and it'll really take place at about 5:30, right? Because that's how things tend to work. And we're wondering the first day, are we going to get anybody from outside of and I'm figuring we're going to get a lot of people who aren't associated, but we're not, I doubt we're going to get anybody who celebrates that day. Because isn't that when they have their dinner? So I don't know. We'll see.
I think it depends on the household. Some people do it 24th evening, some people do it the day of 25th.
So it's going to depend on the household.
And my family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what we get. I mean, it's open. Anybody wants to come, they can come. Let me see what this thing, because this thing was yelling at me, so maybe we do want a piece. But it's gonna be. Hold on a second. No, this is like this is like a perfect number, 93. Why do I want to play with that? I said this thing yells at me if it's moving up or down, even though it's not anywhere dangerous. Well, it's moving in that direction. Well, I want it to move there. Thank you. Okay, so I mean, unless there's a specific question, or Sion has a hand up.
Yeah, Rabbi, when someone is wishing you that happy specific holiday, I'm not going to say the name, or they say the Merry and then the other part. Okay, is it improper? I know it would be improper for a Jew to say it, but is it improper for a Noahide to say Happy Holidays? Because I would assume it would be.
I would say I would definitely stay away from it. I mean, I don't think you have to say it. You know,
I have a client right now, I'm selling her land. She wished me happy, or she said, Merry Xmas to you and yours. And like, I haven't responded, not because I'll be honest, I wanted to say, hey, listen, I don't follow that. But I've been trying to find the best way to address it.
Happy Hanukkah.
That's it, but, so at this moment, I haven't responded, and I don't even care if there's money involved or not. I'm not doing it.
I have a habit of saying, stay safe. Because everybody's
Actually, that's
traveling.
pretty good.
You just stay safe. It's absolutely.
Yeah, what's the phrase? There was a phrase they used. What was the phrase during COVID? With stay safe. No. It was the stay safe phrase.
Stay at home.
No, what was there was it was not just stay safe, it was something about something stay safe.
Socially.
I don't know. There was like a 3 or 4 word. Earl, you have a hand up.
Yes, sir. What I say when people tell me, Mary, you know what? I say, we don't celebrate pagan holidays, but we celebrate Hanukkah. And then y'all know the next question. Oh, I didn't know you was a Jew. Well, see,
Wait a minute,
just like-
get closer to the machine because we can't hear you. And this is important.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. When people tell me, Mary, you know what? I say, we don't celebrate pagan holidays. We celebrate Hanukkah. The next question is, oh, I didn't know you were a Jew. Well, you just opened the door. So I say, I'm not a Jew, but I celebrate with the Jewish people because it was when the temple was rededicated. Now they want to know what you're talking about. They forget all about their holiday. Now you got
Right.
them interested in something biblical. That's how I handle the holiday.
That's beautiful. I like that. I like that. You know, it's interesting. You would think I really like that. You know, Jeremy, that's useful.
Good.
You know, I would think somebody would look at me and figure it doesn't help. I mean, I can't, I know at least, I would say 2 or 3 times a month, people ask me if I belong to a messianic congregation. And I'm like, well, define what you mean by messianic. I said, the Torah tells us that Mashiach is coming. The question isn't, are we messianic? The question is, who is Mashiach? You know, is Mashiach here yet? I said, as far as I know, the last time I looked at the webcam, the mosque was still on top of Harabais. So the mosque is still there. Mashiach isn't here yet.
Hey, Rabbi.
Yeah.
I have a very bright blue hoodie. It has a hood and everything. It's bright blue, and in white it says Happy Hanukkah, and you can read it from about 20 feet away. And then I have a toboggan that says Shema Yisrael in the Hebrew, and I wear that out all the time. And these people will still come up to me and say they're Merry Xmas crap. Like they can see me a mile away. So I mean, like you can't avoid it. It's like they will do it all the time. And when I have told them Happy Hanukkah, they're always like, oh, I don't celebrate Hanukkah, and I'm like, I don't celebrate your day.
You know, it's unbelievable. It's almost like it's programmed. You know, it's like you're dealing with a robot. You know, yeah. I mean, people are very robotic. They just, you know, no matter what you tell them, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you telling me that. And then they'll tell you the same thing again, no matter what.
This is the dissonance and that believes that 3 equals 1.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So I really like that response. That's bingo, right to the point. You know, the problem is it's a complete disconnect from reality. Yeah, they just don't get it. They just don't get it, you know. I mean, I've walked people through where I'm like, you know, listen, was your family in Israel at the time this guy was walking around? No. Was your family at all, going to the base of Mikdash? Was you going to the temple, bringing sacrifice? No, my family worked in the temple at that time. They knew this guy. They saw him. They worked against him or whatever you want to say. They were fully aware of what he was doing and not doing. They didn't follow him. I'm going to say a guy who saw him knows less than I do. Sorry, I don't buy it. If they didn't believe it, I'm not going to believe it.
Prophecies that supposedly it's filled.
Yeah, but I'm saying even from a dumb point of view, right? Forget about obviously if you read the prophecies that he supposedly did or didn't do, it doesn't jive. But right, it doesn't say anything like that. But I'm saying if the people at that time who were familiar with the prophecies, who had leadership, who were super familiar with everything, and they rejected him outright because of what he was saying and doing, then what in the world would I be doing accepting something that my great grandparents said no to?
It was continual rejection past
Right.
past him. When Paul, it talks about in all of like the epistles where Paul would go into the synagogues and try to argue with the scriptures to the Jewish people, and they continued to deny him. And he walks out and says, "Fine, I'll go to the Gentiles then."
Right.
And so, wait a minute, the people that possess the writings that you say are the ones that say he's coming or that has come, whichever how you want to put that. They're saying it hasn't happened. And then you want to go to the people that don't have those books. Of course they're going to accept it. They don't know any better.
Well,
History has repeated itself.
Especially with like the unknown God.
Yeah.
well, from a purely commercial, right? Let's take a guy who doesn't really have much of a belief, but he knows he's in trouble. So from a commercial point of view, it's a great sales technique. All you got to do is I believe in this guy and you're forgiven for everything. Right? I mean, there's no payback of what you did wrong. There's no correction of what you did wrong.
Nobody has to know.
Nobody has to know. And you don't have to change. As far as I could tell, there's no requirement to change. The only thing I can't understand is where they get this thing with the Big Ten, which they don't follow anyway, but where do they get this tie-in of the importance of the that's it.
They pick the things that they want to pick.
No, but why would they? I mean, because God said it directly, but it didn't say it to them. So I don't know. Anyway, I guess actually everybody here will be here on those days. So we'll be fortunate. 23rd, 24th, 25th, everybody will. Chip, you'll be here? You're
I
you-
don't think I'm gonna make it. I didn't say anything.
What?
Earl knows I have a family emergency. I'm leaving for Texas soon.
oh, so you're not gonna make it. Okay.
Well, we're not 100% yet. I'm trying to figure out all the details now.
Yeah, I mean, call it as you see, you know what I mean? With family stuff, you got to take care of family. But as far as we're concerned, I mean, first night menorah lighting is the 25th, which will break the class probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. Head to my house. I'll have the menorah set up from the day before. So basically, all we got to do is wait for people to come, give a talk about it and light. So as many people as can come. Oh, by the way, Earl, I got for the tables, really beautiful. We were able to get tablecloths, specifically Hanukkah tablecloths, that really weren't expensive at all for 3 tables. So I think we're just going to take 3 tables outside, put those tablecloths on them, and we have nothing to worry about. But I definitely appreciate your offer. I think with the 3 tables, we'll have enough. I think it's gonna be interesting how many people will get it. Because if we can get enough Jewish people, we'll try to get a minion together from Marv. And then anybody who wants to see it is certainly welcome to join. Oh, you got a hand up?
Yes, sir. Did you want me to bring chairs? Or you don't want no chairs? Do like a restaurant. Don't give no space everybody can hang around.
You know, I'm thinking we never had chairs outside, right? I never
I-
had chairs outside for the menorah lighting.
I'm just asking, you know, we got two different cultures, but I'm going to your
Yeah.
place and I'm gonna do whatever you want to do, Rabbi.
You know, I'm trying to think. I've been the only time I've ever seen where they had chairs is like at the Capitol menorah lighting, which goes on for 3 or 4 hours with bands and all that stuff. But for any of the public menorah lightings, even like at the State House and stuff, there's no chairs. People just come and stand for half an hour. Um, if we go in to pray, then the shul we have chairs. You know, and anyway, Marv is standing up 90% of it because the silent prayer is 90% of the service. Um, so I don't really. Let me talk to the doctor when I get home, see what she thinks. It's interesting because it may. I don't know if we have people who really shouldn't be standing. I mean, we could have a couple chairs, but we haven't had the problem before. But let me talk to her. You know, because they were now in touch with a couple of the local nursing homes and the visiting nurse association. So if they're going to bring people who need to sit, you know, we'll find out. I'm asking them to let me know if anybody's coming that needs, you know, that has special needs with seating and stuff. But as far as huh? I guess that it's invariable, but I got a couple chairs in front of the house. They work. They're outside chairs. I got the chairs in back of the house. There's 6 of them. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get more than a dozen people who have to sit. Earl?
I do have one wheelchair that I can bring just in case somebody's handicapped.
Most people who are wheelchair bound have their own.
Yeah, most people wheelchair bound have one, but let me see. Let me see if anybody sends a request about, you know, how we handle that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Because
sir.
usually somebody who needs that kind of help will contact me, you know, and say, "Are you guys equipped for?" Like, but that's good to know, though. So thank you. That's very good to know.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, that's actually, you know, yeah, we do have the doctor. But all the equipment we have some equipment, but not that kind of stuff. Do we have any other questions? Okay. So, um, pretty much working on everything. I think we're good. First night, yeah, first night if we can. We have the tables outside. We have a dreidel game. So I'm thinking if we're going to get at least 1 or 2 heavy nights. So we will take photographs and videos and then get back to the news stations. And I'm going to find out if we can get somebody to cover the conference as well. Because they seem to want to cover things that they haven't seen before. And the way we're painting it, it's not going to be, I don't think it'll be offensive the way we painted it, which is really good. Well, you know, if you talk about this stuff they're doing is Avodah Zarah, or it's pagan, or it's, you know what I mean? we didn't say anything like that in the flyer. It basically talks about what was the original, belief system that people had, and is it still okay today? So very powerful, right? It's not saying anything about what anybody else is or isn't doing, right? We're starting off from a very, which I think is the right way to do it. You start off as vanilla as you can. You start off as vanilla as you possibly can, and then in covering everything, yeah, we need that list of the list of pesukim that show evidence of.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no,
It's not fully done, but I have a few.
yeah, I got a couple too. We'll put it together because I think that's a nice addendum to it. Here's these 20, 25 places that definitely show people were aware of, right? Where was it laid out? And then you could show where it is laid out. It's not as clear as black and white, but it's pretty clear anyway.
About what should be and what God actually says.
Right.
And I think you were waiting for me to draw the conclusion that Jesus is idolatry.
Right.
And there was a time when I said, well, it's like, this and this, borders on idolatry. And you were like, well, it actually is idolatry.
Right. Yeah, but better you came to it yourself, right? Because if you come to it yourself, see, if somebody says to you, even if you're outside or you're like at the borderline, and I said to you, the stuff you're doing is idolatry, you're going to fight back even if you don't believe it, just because that's human nature. When somebody tells you something you're doing is wrong or something you did is wrong, right? A person's going to fight back.
That I had noticed it.
Right. Right. No, it's got to come. Listen, it's just like with any of the Noahide laws. I would imagine most people, I wouldn't say everybody, but the vast majority of people are certainly not, going around trying to murder people, going around trying to steal, you know what I mean? The basic laws between man and man, they're pretty careful with. Yeah. It's the man to God laws, but even the man to man laws, are they doing them because, killing my neighbor, that's pretty nasty. He might kill me, right? Or am I doing it because God said not to do it? That's the difference. It's while somebody who doesn't violate any of the laws is definitely getting some level of, I don't know, reward or whatever you want to call it from Hashem, right? He's not doing anything wrong. If he's not doing it for the right reason, it's not the same. He hasn't done the same thing. But the whole concept of doing something for a reason is kind of, in today's society, kind of weird. I don't know. Do people have, yeah, I guess they do. They do things because they believe that's what they're supposed to do. Right. So the thing is, first they've got to realize that a lot of what they're doing isn't what's supposed to be done, and then realize what it is they are supposed to do. But it's how to crack into that. And my guesstimate is they'll both come at the same time. But you've got a large number of people, I would imagine from what we're seeing, that are already borderline, right? They're going through the motions because they don't know what else to do. But if they had another option, I think they would take it.
We've done that.
Right. There's a lot of people who realize, I mean, here you've got a lot of fundamentalists. And the minute you say anything that disagrees with their belief, it's a good shot you're going to get attacked. Even when we had, we were invited by the county and stuff, how many of them showed up? to the minority writing, right? So yeah, the county recognized the value of the Jewish people here, I guess because of October 7th more than anything. We certainly haven't been invited again, right? Nobody contacted us again. I mean, I'm certain if if God forbid I was worried about something happening and I contacted the police force, yeah, they would be there to, cover us. But I think with the people coming, we're probably more covered than if they come.
At the beginning, it had shock value
They had shock value.
for Jewish people, but then somehow things got turned around to where it's making the Jewish people look like the aggressors because they want to get rid of these present people.
Yeah.
Get rid of the terrorists, get rid of them,
It's-
like, well, that's genocide, it's like, really?
Well, it's bad news. I mean, you look at what's happening in Australia, in Canada, in Belgium, in the United States.
Well, the simple solution is give back to Jewish people the entirety of the promised land, then they can get out of Canada and Australia and all that.
Right.
Place to go.
But I mean, this whole on campus anti whatever stuff,
Here.
it's kind of scary. Now, how do we, I wish I had a way to get in touch with the county college and let them know we're doing this, but I don't know, there's nowhere to broadcast it, put up signs. What?
You may not want to.
Right, because you're going to find people against who are going to show up. Over there? Okay. Hmm?
Very like left leaning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm posting, on social media, and we haven't gotten any, the only thing we've gotten was people who think we're something other than what we are. And then when they discover that we're not what they think we are, either they just leave nicely or they try to convince us to be like them. Oh, they think I had somebody come to the house because he wanted to buy an altar. And I was like, you're going to do animal sacrifices? Because the only thing I could think of is an altar is a mizbeach. What do you do with the mizbeach? You're going to do an animal sacrifice. I had no idea what he meant by an altar.
What did he mean? Because that's what I'm thinking too.
No, he meant the place to pray from.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
in art?
I mean, a lot of churches have a place up front by the altar. They call the altar.
They call that the altar. I think that's what he wanted to buy, something like that. Will?
Yeah, it looks like a bench. It's sitting in front of the pulpit. They go up there and kneel down to. Just another piece of wood to pray to, I guess.
Oh man.
Well, they're
Yeah.
trying to pray to God, they're not trying to pray to the Lord, but.
Yeah, but they shouldn't call it an altar at the end of the day. But whatever. I mean, I don't really care.
I mean, they can call whatever they want. It really confused me. And then when he discovered that I don't believe what he does, all of a sudden he went into sales mode, Yeah. He thought I was like selling stuff for that. And when we pointed out, no, we're Jewish and we don't believe in that stuff. And when you talk about an altar, the only place they used an altar was for sacrifices. And I'm kind of surprised you're going to be doing them. He went into his sales mode, and the doctor took over and just basically said, "Well, there's the door. Goodbye." It's we don't accept Yetzer Hara here, so you can leave. The guy didn't want to hear anything; he just wanted to sell. So there's nothing to talk about. But yeah, that's interesting because there are a bunch of left wing because I haven't met too many of them.
Well, I was doing there. I mean, I was doing online, but I don't have to go there every day. I mean, there are people wearing tails, and it's really,
Oh, that kind of stuff.
yeah, it's really tails.
Oh, furries and that. Okay.
one person with a leash on. Like, oh my goodness.
And you
But it
think those guys would show up to cause a problem? Oh, they might, you're right. 'Cause, it's funny because I've been in the college like half a dozen times for various reasons, and I haven't met anything negative. But most of the people I worked with were either active Marines or spouses of Marines. So yeah, they're not anything weird like that. I guess I don't know.
it's it was like a long period of time. We did not have a single hurricane hit North Carolina since we moved here, so
And
that
the
was
one
very
that
much
here
accurate.
wasn't here.
Mm-mm. We might have gone to but we never got anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
No, listen, I'll tell you the truth with the hurricanes, and we're going to break for Marv. One of my neighbors mentioned to me after the second or third hurricane was predicted to hit, and like when it got to either Wilmington or before Wilmington, it turned in or out or wherever, it didn't come here. He said, I said to him, "How are you preparing for the hurricane?" And he jokingly said to me, "Oh, maybe you didn't hear. Since this rabbi moved in up the block, there haven't been any hurricanes here."
Amen.
And I said to him, the truth is, it's not so much that I moved here cause not to be here. I said it's your firm belief that my being here is stopping them from being here is what's causing them not to be. And that's actually true. If one has a firm belief that Hashem is going to protect him or her because of something or due to something, then you you kind of semi-literally force Hashem's hand. That a absolute firm bitachon, an absolute firm belief in something will cause in Shemayim things to happen. Yeah. Yeah, the doctor kind of thinks. Actually, the doctor has a phenomenal blessing bubble.
Together.
Yeah, put us together. Yeah, I actually was told by the Rebbe about the doctor years before I met her. So I got a phenomenal bracha from the Rebbe on giving brachas. And I said, "Does that hold for my wife?" And the Rebbe looked me right in the eye and he said, "Not this one." Right? How do you interpret that? Right? How do you interpret not this one? I mean, that was my first wife. It was right before I married my first wife
Wow.
that I got this bracha from the Rebbe. And I asked him, "Does that count for my wife?" And he said, "Not this one." How do you interpret that? I'm thinking
Wow.
I'm gonna have two wives.
Well, not at the same time, but yeah.
Why not?
You didn't.
I didn't, but I theoretically,
You
it's
but you didn't.
yeah. I actually, when the doctor and I had our engagement, one of my brilliant students, like you need brilliant students, right? As we're walking back from the board to the apartment, because it was only a couple houses away, walks right up to us, says to her, "Well, you're really lucky because you're marrying a smarty. And he can have more than one wife." I think to myself, "Oh, this is really good. This is why you have students. So that you can practice not killing them." And but fortunately we had discussed the whole issue and she says, "Yeah, no, I'm perfectly aware of it. And guess what? I get to choose her." He's Moroccan. The Moroccan custom is the first wife chooses all the other wives. So, if you know of anybody really fitting, let me know. Yeah.
Actually said that?
Oh yeah, she is she's sharp. No,
Yeah.
no, let me tell you, we were walking once in Crown Heights, and in the summer, people don't always dress the best they can. They forget to get dressed. And we're walking down the street, and she would invariably just tell me, "Look down or look away." Wouldn't tell me why. Why explain to me there's something there you shouldn't see, right? Just look down. And most people hearing her say that, would quietly say to me afterwards, "Doesn't your wife trust you?" And one of my friends was across the street. And she went up to the apartment, and I had to go do something else. And he runs across the street the minute she went upstairs. He says, "Your wife is an absolute Sudeikis." He said the way she handled that was I if I could find a wife like that, I'd take her in a second. He said it was so ideal. Like, she didn't tell you what it is, she didn't tell you why it is. She just told you, don't look. Yeah, yeah, it definitely is perfect. It's like, why do I need to know what it is? I'm not supposed to look at it. I don't want to know about it. No, but it's listen, it's all perspective. But no, she has a definite ability to give brachas. But I mean, you look at her record, how many lives she saved. It's unbelievable. But okay, Sion, question?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm. Oh, I accidentally muted myself. Okay, so I'm mainly asking this for the group because I've talked to you about this before. So there is a lot of Gentiles and especially Christians that have this idea that God is constantly punishing them, or they have this idea of a family curse. I've ran into so many of them. So on the lines of what they believe, it's they're going to help it to create. So if someone were to come in, whether they were, converting or Noahide or whatever, if they constantly had this idea for some reason that their family was cursed or that God just did not like them, would they not be manifesting these things and picking out the more negative things that happen to them and focus on them?
Well, sure, they could be causing it to happen.
Right. Yeah. That was my other point
Yeah,
is they would
those
be
kind of
causing it to
thoughts,
happen too.
they could cause it to.
Yeah.
And if they would turn around their thinking, what I would recommend to them is to forget about that idea, start doing positive things, and you will automatically see that things start happening positively for you.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why. I run into so many that think that they like they'll sit there and say that Hashem is somehow mad at them or they have this idea that some ancestor did something bad and it's went down genealogically. I don't know why, but I've ran into so many of them like that, and I just wanted to throw that out there for those that were listening.
Yeah, no, I definitely have met people like that, but the way to do it is just turn around their focus. Will?
In the church, it was taught that way, that you carry the sins of everybody and you're born that way. And the only thing could save you was, so I guess it's just ingrained into them and messed with them mentally.
Yeah, the
Can't possibly forgive you unless
The
somebody
only thing
dies.
that could save you was going to church.
yeah. I think that would condemn you, but that's besides the point. I mean, Hashem says straight that a child isn't going to suffer for his father, and the father's not going to suffer for the child. It's
And also,
right, and repentance is forgiveness. But it's I don't know. I mean, for them, you would think it's easier, right? All you got to do is believe and you're forgiven. So I don't know where they get this idea of a family curse, but yeah, a lot
Well,
of them seem
yeah,
to have it.
what Will was saying makes a lot of sense, but they also have this idea. A lot of the churches have this idea that they can become like possessed by negative spirits or that they will have a negative spirit chasing their family around, and that's why they run to the church. So with all of that combined, I guess that's what does it. But yeah, I was mainly asking though about if they believe that they can be creating events negatively because
Yeah,
because
they
I,
could definitely. I mean, listen, the only negative spirit I'm aware of is I guess the ethanol. Yeah, the ethanol spirit. That's a pretty negative spirit if used incorrectly.
it can be possible.
in a way, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. No, it can be a very positive one used in the right way.
Yeah.
If used for the Chayims, it can be very positive. It can save somebody's life.
But I'm
Okay.
talking about, the people that, think they're cursed. And so it's like it's self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's definitely self-fulfilling. All right.
I had
807.
I had this problem whenever I was a Wiccan and doing tarot with other people were doing tarot, and they were doing it in the beginning of the day, and that's how their day would go.
Yeah, of course, because they, open the Chinese fortune cookie, right? And that's how my day's going to go.
Yeah.
All right, we should break for Marv. I think we still have enough time for the night service. We'll be back at 8:30.
Okay, good class.
Okay.
Good class. I'll be back
Okay.
later.
Yeah, we'll be
It's
back at
7 o'clock right now.
oh, that's right, because so it'll be 7:30.
Okay.
Thank
30
you,
minutes.
Rabbi.
I keep forgetting you guys have the clock is an hour behind.
What state are you in, Owen?
Well, with me,
What state are
I
you
think
in,
I'm
Owen?
the first. Oklahoma. I'm the other O state.
I'm in Ohio. Yeah, we're on the east side in Ohio.
Now, wait, Ohio. Oh no, that's right. Cincy is the same time zone as us, so Ohio's the same time zone.
Yeah, Ohio and New York and all that same time. It is on the East Coast. Yeah.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
I mean it's not all the way on the east, but it's considered East Coast. All right, I'm gonna jump off here. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Take care.
We'll see you in an hour.
See you in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Awesome.